we'll just go ahead and get started. So first off, I just want you to tell everybody are we recording? Yeah, we're recording. Okay. So just start with kind of telling everybody your story, just in case people may not know who you are.
Okay. So I joined in July of last year. I had never really heard of It Works before. I mean, I had heard of it, but I thought it was just the rap. And I went to college with Eli, Trista's husband, and I wasn't even friends with him until a few months before I joined, and he sent me a friend request. And I accepted it and, saw what they were doing. I was like, oh, that's the reason why he sent me a friend request. Like they're, trying to sell me stuff or whatever. But, I started following their posts because he tagged Trista in all of her posts and all of, or she tagged him in all of her posts. And so I started to follow their journey and, watch their videos, and I read their story about how, they'd earned all these bonuses and she was able to quit her job and stay home with her kids. And recently left my job at a church where I was the admin assistant, and they had cut my hours to part-time. I had a 1-year-old son, and I was pregnant with my daughter. And so we kind of figured like, all right, well, since my hours got cut, basically I'm going to be paying childcare, like in childcare, what I would be earning at the church. So I needed to get a different job. So my husband worked at State Farm, and so I applied for a job at State Farm, and I got it, and quickly learned that I hated it. I basically was answering calls from agents all day long, and it was super draining, and I hated leaving my son every day. And so this is around the time when, I started seeing Eli and Trista's posts, and, so I kind of had it in the back of my head. I had tried a network marketing company like years and years ago with my sister, and we were like not successful at all. And I hated it. Like I'm a very, very shy, introverted person. And so I was like, I will never, ever, ever do that again. And she had joined a different network marketing company like a year before. And I was like, I thought she was crazy. I was like, good for you. I wish all the best for you, but I will never, ever do that again. And, but I just kept seeing all of Trista's posts, and, I just kept putting in the back of my head, like, no, that's not for me, but it just kept coming back, and I just couldn't get it off my heart. And I wanted more than anything to be able to stay at home with my son and my daughter who was on the way. And I knew it would just get harder, leaving both of my kids. So I was like, all right, I knew my husband probably wouldn't be supportive. So I was like, well, this will be my easy way out. I'll bring it up to him, and he'll probably tell me no. And then that will help me just get rid of this idea. So I brought it up to him, and, he was a little bit hesitant at first, but he was like, he knew my desire to be able to stay at home, and, he wanted me to be able to stay at home. So he was like, all right, you can join, but you have to give it everything you got. Cause we were dating at the time when I was doing my other network marketing business, and he kind of saw that, I wasn't really into that at all. So he's like, I don't want this to be another, similar situation. So if you do this, then you have to, give it at least 6 months, and you have to give it everything you got. So I joined, and I had to give it everything I had. So that was pretty much how I started.
Love it. So Lindsay was one of those who she was super shy and she had all these reasons why she wasn't going to be successful. But she, from the very moment I talked to her, like she wanted to be home with her babies, and she had a clear defined why. And she proves that if you have a why big enough, your excuses will get thrown out the window. So she has been one who from day one, she has been consistent, you guys. She is where she is because of her consistency. So she's going to give us all her tips, and I'm so freaking pumped because she is just consistent every single month, and she is constantly filling her steps. And I just This last month, you absolutely blew me away. So what was your final loyal customer count this month?
So I have 29 this month.
That's incredible. That is incredible. And how many distributors did you end up with?
4.
That's awesome. Congratulations. You're just a rock star. So, all right. So we will start with loyal customers. And the thing that I think like is so impressive with that is, I mean, you've been in for over a year now, so your warm market is shot. And so everything that you've done in the last few months is completely from your quote unquote cold market. So give us all of your tips for loyal customers. We'll start there.
Okay. So like, first of all, I mean, just, I had going into November, like this popped up in my time hop this morning that I promoted to Emerald this month. So like going into this month, you know, I kept hearing all these people say that, you know, November and December is a slow time. And honestly, like last year in November, that was the most loyal customers I had ever enrolled since this month. So, and I promoted. So I knew like going into this, like I was excited because I was like, you know what, maybe for everyone else is a slow month, but last year, like that was my really big month. So I went into it kind of excited, like, okay, I know that I can do at least what I did last month or last year at this time, this month. So last month I started to learn how important asking other people to post for me was. Like I just got a huge response from that. So you know, I posted one time on my wall asking, you know, for volunteers to post for me, and got a huge response from that. So I just kind of contacted like 2 or 3 people each day from that post to post for me. And honestly, like that's who I've been following up with, like everyone who's been commenting on that. So that was big from last month. And then this month I basically just looked for people that I knew would post for me. So I didn't necessarily ask, I think I asked for people to post like one time, but I tried to set a goal of having at least one person post for me. So I would go through my list of friends and just find someone who I thought, you know, who I'm close with, who wouldn't necessarily need, you know, an incentive to post for me, like a product or whatever, and just ask them, hey, would you mind posting on your wall for me? You know, I'm trying to get the word out. I picked like loyal customers who I know love the products, and, you know, picked a product that they order a lot. So like, hey, you know, I know you love your keto coffee. Would you mind posting for me? Like I'll come up with the post, and you can say, you can add your 2 cents if you want, or if you don't want to, you don't have to. And I got a great response from that. So, you know, I had a list of people who, well, a lot of people ordered from that. And then the people who didn't, I just added to my list. And so like when this 25% off deal came around, I mean, that was huge because I have this whole list of people who I've been following up with, but haven't necessarily ordered yet. And, you know, I just went through and said, hey, we have this product that's 25% off. And it applied to every single one of the people on my list because all the products were on sale. So I got a lot of customers from that. What else? I mean, that's been huge for me, is just having other people post for me. And then, yeah, I'd say that's my biggest thing recently, is just having people post for me and following up with those people.
So can you kind of walk us, once you have someone post for you, what actually
Oh, you're kind of cutting out.
Sorry. Can you walk us through the conversation of once someone likes or comments on that post, what you say to them to seal the deal?
Yeah. So, I mean, depending on what it is, like I usually, unless someone specifically wants to post about like a certain product, I usually either give them the cleanse or the thermofit to post about, because in my experience, has had the most response. And so I just say, hey, you know, I'm trying to get the word out about my products. Would you mind posting for me? You know, I know you have a lot of contacts, and they usually either don't respond to me or they say yes. And so then I just send them the post and tell them to tag me in it. And then what I've been doing recently, because they don't always accept my friend request. So if they don't, then I ask the person who posted for me to start a group text or a group message. So they'll say, hey, so-and-so, this is my friend Lindsay, and she is going to tell you more about this product. So that helps then get the person that I'm not friends with, like, connected. So I can start talking to them, and then the other person drops off, or my friend drops off, so that it's just she and I. Because at first I was having a lot of issues, like they weren't accepting my friend request, and then they wouldn't see my message because we weren't friends. So that helped a lot. And then I basically send them the product information, and recently I've been telling them about the sale that's going on. But in the past, I just tell them about the loyal customer program and how they can, save 40% off of the products.
Perfect. And I actually had Lindsay say her script that she sends to people, and so I will post those after we're done with this so that you guys have those. Do you, because I know like in the actual thing you send like, do you send product info sheets or just like a couple sentences about what the product does?
It kind of varies, but like recently I've been, like, if they say they're interested, then I usually like screenshot the product information. Like if you go to your website and then you click on the product information, it's usually like 2 or 3 or 4 different pages. So I just usually screenshot that and say, hey, I saw you're interested in the cleanse. Here's some more product information on it. Like what questions can I answer for you? And then they usually ask the cost, and then that's when I get into the loyal customer program.
Perfect. Okay, so I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this, but how crucial would you say follow-up is? Like, how many of these people signed the first time you talked to them, and how many of them did you have to follow up with?
Like, I mean, very few of them signed up like right away. Like, I mean, I've been following up with some of these people forever, and I actually started like a group message on my team with my team for anyone who wanted to be added. And, anytime we'd sign a loyal or a distributor, we'd basically, show like what the post was or how we actually got them, how many times we followed up with them, just to show like, because you see these people like signing all these distributors and loyal customers, and you're just like, gosh, how is she doing that? And when in reality, like, you've been following up with them for months and months. And a ton of these customers, I've been like following up forever with them. And, a lot of them say, like, I just signed one yesterday or the day before, and she was like, thanks for not giving up on me. I really appreciate your follow-up. And so, if you think about it, like, if you're the person ordering, like, it's not really that important to you. And it's important to us because, we have these deadlines and promotions and volume that we're trying to get. So like if you think about it in their shoes, like it's not important. Like it doesn't matter what time of the month it is for them. Like it matters for us. So follow-up is huge. And I think one thing that I would always say is like, hey, if someone like goes silent or, you followed up with them a few times and they haven't responded, like I always say, hey, I'm just checking in to see if you want to still get that order in. Like if you changed your mind or if you don't want it, just let me know and I'll take you off my follow-up list. And that always got them to at least respond, because they know like, hey, if I don't respond to her, then she's going to keep following up with me forever and ever and ever. So that always helped too. Even if they said, hey, I changed my mind, at least and you can stop following up with them. But it helped at least get a response, because, there's always those people who just like go silent on you. But if they know that you're going to follow up with them until they say something, then
then they'll at least say, leave me alone.
Right.
Well, the thing I love about that, and I think like people look at like the month you had, and you sign 30 customers. But what they don't know is that like you have planted so many seeds consistently every single month. And that's why you had such a successful month. So planting seeds is the important part, even when the promotions aren't out and because they're always going to be coming out with something. So the more seeds you plant every single day, the better harvest you're going to have eventually. So I love that. Okay. The other thing that you said that I freaking love is that slow season is a mindset. Both years, November has been an incredible month for you. You promoted an Emerald last month. You are so close to Triple Diamond now. And we're supposedly in slow season, and so much of it is mindset. If you think it's slow season, you're going to slow down. And so the production and what you reap is not going to be there. So slow season is a mindset. Just know that, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are your biggest tips for distributors?
So as far as like messaging for distributors, like I don't necessarily, I know there's people who they have to get, 10 or 20 messages in a day, and I'm not that way. I tried that in the beginning and I felt like a lot of it was forced and it didn't come across as genuine. And so I don't ever like cold message, for distributors. Like I kind of have a system where, I feel like during the day I'm at home with my kids, so I'm trying to be present with them, but I feel like I'm always, scrolling on Facebook or, whenever you're posting, people will pop up on your newsfeed and you're like, oh, that person would be a good distributor. And, you don't necessarily have the time to sit down and message them right then and there. So I screenshot their profile, and then I have a folder in my photos, and I just put them in my, in that folder. And then, at night, if I feel, so once my kids are in bed, then my husband and I usually do like a power hour, together after they're in bed. And then I'll go through that folder and look at everyone who I've screenshotted their profiles. And if it's someone who, I know pretty well, then I'll message them. If not, then I'll start interacting on their page. And then I'll message them like a few days later after I've had a chance to like kind of interact on their page. And so I feel like that has helped me a lot because, before when I'd go, we'd sit down to do a power hour and I'd be like, okay, who should I message? Like you just sit there or you scroll and then you start like getting distracted on Facebook. So I felt like that's kind of helped streamline like, okay, I have these 5 or 10 people I can message or at least start interacting on their page. So I felt like that's been huge for me. And if there's no one to message, then I don't message. I add to my network. I listened to a Zoom, or no, I interviewed someone on a Zoom, and she said that like she started off with, I think maybe 1,000 friends, and she maxed out to 5,000 friends like as soon as she could. And she was like, if you don't have close to 5,000 friends, like you're not utilizing Facebook. And a few months ago I only had 2,000 friends, and so I was like, crap, you're right. If I'm only adding a few friends each day, like not very many, I'd say maybe a fourth of them like actually accept your friend request. So if you're not like trying to add as many friends as you can and get as close to that max limit as you can, then you're not utilizing it as much as possible. And, people aren't seeing your posts as much as possible. So I think I've gotten up to 3,000 in the last couple of months, and I've just been, trying to get that up as much as possible. But recently, what I've been doing, I don't know if this is allowed or like against policy, but because I've been signing so many loyal customers lately. So I have my, potential distributor list, and like I have my top few that are like right on the edge of, verge of signing. So, the last couple of days I've been signing, 3, 4, 5, 6 customers. So I go to my, best potential and I say, hey, I have 5 customers. I can move them under you right away if you join, but I only have 24 hours to move them. So, you could start off with $100 shopping spree and $100 Christmas cash bonus. Do you want it? I'm offering it to you first. And if you don't want it, that's fine. I'll go to the next person. And so that's helped. The people that I've been interacting with and talking about the business, and, they've gone to join and then they don't. And, or money is an issue. Like, hey, you could make your money back like the next week because you'll have that Christmas cash bonus. So maybe that might be against policy, but that's how you're going to move them under your new distributors anyway. So might as well tell them that and get them, to jump off the fence. So
the important part about that is you have to be working in order for that to work. Okay. So again, how important is follow-up and keeping track of your potential? I don't know why I've never thought to screenshot before. Like, why haven't? Because I think, I'll remember them, and then I never do, or I turn on post. Like, that's just, I don't know why I've never thought about that, but I love it. So how important is follow-up? And can you do you do all of yours through, like, do you get them on the phone or do you message? How do you like seal the deal with distributors?
With distributors, and Eric has been trying to like keep on top of me because I am such an introverted person. Like, I'd much rather just message and like, or text back and forth than get on the phone. But he's been like, making sure that I offer, or at least try my best to get them on the phone, because I feel like anytime I've gotten someone on the phone, I've sealed the deal. And so, the last 3 of my 4 distributors that I signed this month, I've gotten on 2 of them. I got like on a FaceTime so that we could actually see each other, and the other one on the phone. And I think that's huge, even though I hate it. It just helps people see and hear. And text is just it's easy, but it's just hard to like portray your excitement and your authenticity, I guess. So, like my first distributor that I signed this month, I was looking back at our messages, and I think I messaged her in August of last year, my very first message to her. So like, people say, or people think like, oh, it's just so easy for you to sign distributors. And it's not. Like, I think I signed my first distributor like 3 months after I joined. And, this girl I've been following up with for over a year. So,
yeah. The thing I love about phone call versus messaging is you get so much more done in 15 minutes on a phone call than it takes. It takes 2 weeks to get done what you can do in just one phone call. So I really encourage, I know it can be uncomfortable to get people on the phone, but I encourage it if you at all can. I know Heather asked, do you work primarily Facebook or Instagram or both, or what do you do?
I'm definitely Facebook. I've been trying to get, after Melanie's Zoom, I've been trying to get Eric to start working
in your Instagram for you.
I'm like, I'll do the posting, but till you just like add friends and clean up friends or whatever it is you do, you're supposed to do on Instagram. I'm just not an Instagram person. I know that I should get there, but I listened to a Zoom one time that said, do what you're good at. And once you feel like you've totally maxed that out and like, done everything you could, then move on to the next one. And I feel like there's so much potential in Facebook. And I feel like if I try and like focus on Instagram, then I'm going to lose sight of what I'm doing well now. So, I still post on Instagram, but Facebook is definitely, I don't think I've ever gotten a customer or distributor from Instagram
yet.
Yeah.
But, well, I love what you said. Like, if you haven't maxed out your friends list yet, like, you're not reaching your full potential on Facebook. You're just not. So I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this either. But what are your, like, non-negotiables that you do for your business every single day and that you encourage your team members to do?
Definitely, obviously, posting. That's a given, but not everyone does it. So, definitely posting. A variety of posts, like products and opportunity, and just it works posts, like lifestyle posts. Trying to be as genuine as possible. Obviously like product posts and stuff, like I pull from our product page or our signing distributor or customers page. But if you're not doing like at least one heartfelt lifestyle post a day, then you're not reaching people like you should. So definitely posting, and adding to your friend or to your network. That's been huge for me, like just amping that up, trying to get as many people added per day as I can. And I want to say messaging, but I can't say that I message every single day. It's definitely like on my list, but if I go to sit down and do a power hour and I don't have people to message, then I'll find other stuff to do. So, I definitely try to at least get a few messages out per day, but sometimes I have a whole list of people and sometimes it's 2 or 3. So, I wouldn't say that's like a non-negotiable, but that's definitely the goal every day, I guess. And then follow-ups. I follow up every day. Like I have my ongoing list of loyal customers and distributors, and I just go through them every day. Like, oh, I haven't, it's not super organized. Like it's basically just a list of people and what they were interested in, or a distributor, and how I know them or what their holdup is. But I don't keep track of like when I contacted them, or I just know like, oh, I haven't talked to them in a while, might as well follow up with them. So, I think I do more follow-ups than I do messages every day.
So when do you start talking to a loyal customer about becoming a distributor?
It kind of depends. Like if it's someone who I think would be really good, I start planting the seed like right away, even if they just joined. Like one customer I just got a few days ago, and I was like, hey, have you ever, because she kept asking questions like, what are your favorite products? Like, what have they done for you? Like she just was really intuitive. So I was like, hey, have you ever thought of being a distributor? And so we just got to talking, and she, sent her my website. And so she's now like thinking about being a distributor. So it kind of depends, like, if I think they would be really good, then I contact them right away. Otherwise I wait until their 3 months is up, just so that, they start trying the products and they don't have to pay the $50 fee.
And we don't have to pay them back for the $50 fee.
Right. If they're worth it, then I'll pay it. But if not, I'll let them complete their 3 months.
Absolutely. Complete your 3 months. One thing you said that I think is important is that sometimes we assume that our customers know we would like them to be distributors, but sometimes that light bulb never goes off in their head. Yeah. So sometimes you just have to ask. You have to actually ask before they will think about, oh, you think I could do that? I can't tell you how many times I've had people say like, well, no one has ever actually asked me before.
Yeah.
So it never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
So you just have to ask. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Heather wanted to know, because your team has been kicking butt, like you're kicking butt, they're kicking butt. Bam. So what do you think, how do you get your new people started? We'll go with that.
Okay. So it kind of depends. Like if I have like a group of people that sign like all together, like the $9.99 group, like I put them all in a group message, and I just I was following up them every day. Like, okay, let's talk about, perk points. Let's talk about your auto ship. Let's talk about that was helpful because they kind of like bonded together. Like I think I signed 15 people, and I have 3 like rock stars that are still working. And I think that was huge because they all came together, and, they're on the same team, or like they're in the same leg. So they're basically on the same team. And, so I've tried to do that like with new distributors, beginning of this, or like a few weeks ago, with my new distributors, I started a group message like with the team that they're on. So like I had 2 people go Ruby this month. And so several weeks or maybe like a week ago, they were pretty far from Ruby like a week ago. And so I started a group message with, the Ruby leader and then everyone on their team, which included some of the new distributors, and said, all right, this is how far, like I screenshot or I made a Ruby chart and put the volume that each one needed and said, all right, this is how far you are from Ruby. Like, let's start working. So I did that with both of them. And I think that helps like, get them started, like get them working as a team, and they both hit Ruby. Like it was amazing. And so like starting them off, like I try and, contact them as much as I can, get them added to all the team pages, obviously. But, the first month I feel like is when people need the most help. So I try to always be available for questions. Like, as soon as they earn their product credit, I contact them, let them know how to use it. And I just feel like getting them a part of the team, like as soon as possible, it has been huge. Just to like, I introduce them to whoever I place them under. So that they know like who their direct upline is, and they can be like, hey, this is who I placed you under. Like she's going to be helping you get started, because usually they are the ones that help, place customers under them. And, if I'm not available, you can always go to her to ask questions. I have a team like group chat that we're always asking questions and, answering questions for each other and encouraging each other. So, I just feel like getting them a part of the team as soon as possible, it has been huge. I don't know if that helps.
I love it. Yeah, it definitely does. I know group chats. I didn't utilize those in the beginning as much as I do now, and I love them so much. So Heather wants to know, she's so green. Heather, I just love you. Do you have like a set specific like tasks to give them every day, or do you just kind of wing it, or do you have something specifically you talk about like every day scheduled, or do you just like wing it and whatever they need is kind of what you go over?
I just wing it because everyone is so different. Like, some people are super green and, they're going through the boot camp page. Like, okay, I just made my hundreds list. Like, what messages should I send? Like, and then other people, you'd have to like basically get on. I'm like, hey, did you go through this? Like, hey, you're still on commission hold. So I feel like I just kind of try and cater it to the person. I don't really have a set like list.
Perfect. Okay, so give us just kind of your top. Okay, hang on. What's the best way you found to keep track of who you're following up with? And guys, I really only have one more question to ask her. So if you guys have other questions you want to ask, just pop them in the chat and we'll ask. Okay. So how do you keep track of your follow-up? So what's the best way that you have found for you?
I basically just I'm super old fashioned. Like Eric's tried to like, make me spreadsheets and all this, really high tech stuff. And, I don't ever use it, much to his dismay. So I'm old school. I just use a notebook and I write their name down after I've contacted them, or, they've expressed interest. I put the product that they, have talked about, or if I've reached out to them about becoming a distributor or anything like that, then I'll put their name in my potential distributor list. And from then on, I follow up with them as much as possible until they sign. So I don't really have like a super high tech way that I keep track. I just keep them in a notebook. And then as soon as they sign up, then I cross their name off or check their name off or whatever. And yeah, that's it.
Perfect. I'm the same way. Elisha has tried to make me like 7 different spreadsheets, and I hate them. I'm like, this does not work for me. I just need a notebook and a pen, and I'm good.
We're appreciative, but that's not really
I appreciate you, but no, It doesn't work for me. Okay, so somebody wanted to know, for the posts that you have people post for you, what have you had the best success of getting actually like people signed up with?
Like what products?
Yeah.
Thermofit and the cleanse. Recently the cleanse, just because it's been like on sale and BOGO. I mean, I think I counted like 12 cleanse customers that I've gotten in the past few days. So it's been huge.
What do you think about your personal posts as well? What do you feel like you sign the most customers off of your personal posts?
I'd say greens, the cleanse for sure. Wraps recently. Thermofit. I think those are probably the highest.
Perfect. Okay. So my last question. Oh, hang on. What does that type of cleanse post look like? So Heather, do you mean like the post that she has someone else post for her, or what is she posting on her own wall? What do you mean? I'm guessing she probably means what is the cleanse post that you have other people post for you? What do you have? What does it say?
For other people posting, I mean, it's just let's see. I think it's just like the generic one that most people do. Sorry.
It's okay.
So it's just, hey everyone, or my friend Lindsay is looking for 5 models to try cleanse. It's natural in only 48 hours. It's gentle, aloe based, and you can eat on it. You can lose anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds from this, and you will be able to receive it at her discounted price. Please comment below if you'd be interested.
Do you then post you have the status?
Say that again.
Do you have them put a before and after with it, or do you just have them do the status?
I always have them do a picture with it.
Comments?
What?
In the comments or with?
No, with
on
the post.
actual.
With the post.
With the post.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the ones that I've been like personally on my wall recently have just been like the text with the background, like, you know, hey, the first 10 people to comment get 25% off their cleanse, or they get it for $27 instead of $36. So the next 10 people to comment get a free cleanse, or get 2 cleanses for $36. Like the ones that I've been doing recently have just been like super simple, no pictures, just like that text with the background. Which I feel like it's weird. Like sometimes you get tons of responses, and then other times like it's super slow. So I feel like, you know, when I start to get a lot of responses, then I just use that until I don't get any more, and then I move on to something different. So for some reason, that one has been getting a ton of responses lately.
I've noticed that you get like 76 comments on one post. Like, good grief. But a big part of that is because you can network. So if constantly new people in, constantly new eyes on your post. Like that's so crucial. Mm-hmm. Okay, so give us your best couple tips of how to end the year super good 2018. And then that's a question that I have. So if any
I can't understand what you're saying.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Maybe?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Okay. So Trista is a robot. Gosh, what is happening? I don't know. Okay. So what are your best couple of tips for ending 2017 strong going into 2018? Your best tips. And then if anybody else has any comments, they can pop them in the chat. But that's the last question that I have.
I would say just mindset is like a huge thing. Like I feel like, so Eric and I went to a conference a few weeks back, and it was a really well-known pastor, Louis Giglio, who did like the sermon, and like just talking about, you know, um, how we were designed to bring God glory in everything we do. And, I felt like, in the beginning, like I was promoting really fast, and, I promoted to diamond one month and then the double diamond the following month. And then I sat at double diamond ever since. And I felt like, I was always working hard and, doing everything I could, but I felt like it started to go to my head to where, oh, I'm really great at this. And, um, I don't know, like, I just felt like I was taking all the glory and all the praise. And I felt like something clicked in me, a few weeks back when we went to that conference, and it was like, we were put on this earth to give him glory and praise. And, whatever that looks like, whatever job you're in, with It Works, I mean, it's a huge avenue, because not only do I love like the products and the company and the business and all the people, like I get to give God the glory through it. And I felt like something snapped in me, like, well, maybe that's why I'm not promoting to triple diamond, because I'm taking all this glory and all this praise for, all this success, and I'm not giving it to God. And so I felt like as soon as, I started to think differently, like, okay, maybe that's why I've sat at double diamond for as long as I have, which, in reality hasn't been that long, but in my head, it's been an eternity. And so it's like, I felt like as soon as I started that mind shift, like, okay, I can't do any of this on my own. It's for his glory, and it's to give him the praise. So I felt like as soon as I made that switch, like that's when everything started to pick up for me. And, he talked about like how the birds give him praise and the stars give him praise, and how much more are we like made in his image, to be able to give him praise. And so, that was huge for me, like just that mindset of, and then it was reiterated with my pastor of our church did a sermon last week about how, any blessings that we receive, if we don't give praise, then they turn into pride. And that was like, gosh, another reiteration of, how easy it is to get prideful, like when, none of this would be possible without God. So I feel like that's been huge for me. Like every time someone gives me a compliment or like, oh, wow, you're doing so well. Like, thank you. It wasn't me though. It was God. So I feel like that's been huge for me, just that mind shift. And, just making sure that he gets all the glory for, anything that we do, because ultimately that's what we're put on earth to do. And, if he's getting the praise, then he's going to bless us even more. So, that, and just making sure you pray like for the right people to come into your business, the people that need this business, the people that want this business. Because I think we've all had those people that are just super draining on our business, and, kind of suck the life out of you. And it's almost like a relief when they decide to quit. So just making sure that you're always praying for the right people to come into your business, and on your team. And I feel like lately I've just been blessed with, amazing people on my team. So I can't take any of the credit.
You certainly have. I love that so much. I just love it. Part of the people that the company has brought into my life. We are so blessed. So, okay, there were a couple of questions asked. Hang on, let me get to the chat. Okay. Josephine asked, can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. She asked, some days it seems like she gets a lot of interaction on her posts, and some days it seems like nothing. Have you found a certain time of day or certain number of posts per day that gets you better interaction? I've
been struggling with that lately too. Like, I feel like, some days you just get all these likes, and then the next day it's like, man, that was a really good post. Why did I only get one like? Like, I think there's, someone mentioned that there's like updates with the algorithm. So I'm not even sure what's going on, but I mean, I've noticed it too. So honestly, I make sure that there's at least an hour in between each of my posts. I try to keep them at least 2 hours apart, just because there's something with that. Like if you're posting too often, then they're not going to get seen. But I feel like the ones like in the middle of the day, most people are working. So those are probably my least liked post. So I try to keep my like, call to action posts or whatever you want to call it for like right around when people get off work. So whether it's like a product post or a business opportunity post, I try to keep those, or wait to post those till after everyone gets off work. Cause I just feel like that's when I get the most interaction. And then just kind of do my lifestyle posts and other things throughout the day when there's not as much interaction. But I don't know what the algorithm is doing lately, but I've noticed it too, where
I think we all have noticed it.
Cricket.
It's brutal.
I know.
It is brutal.
It is.
I don't know. We're figuring it out. I'm like waiting on Lachelle to make a video. Like, figure this out and tell me what to do.
Tell us what to do.
I know. Okay. Another question was, have you had much luck doing wrap parties or blitzing? I know you used to set up like a vendor kind of booth at a gym. Mm-hmm. Do you do much face-to-face anymore, or is it mainly all social media?
Like I obviously always do launch parties when they're local. I can't say that I've ever done like a wrap party, like where people come to my house. But I do set up at the gym every once in a while. I do it on Mondays because that's where the most people come to the gym. And I just set up a table and basically have the products there and sign up sheets. So, I mean, that's kind of been hit or miss. It's been better now that the weather has gotten a little bit colder because more people are in the gym. But the majority of what I do is on Facebook. I do try and blitz when I go out, which isn't very often with 2 little kids, but like I'm obviously very shy and introverted, so blitzing is like not my strong suit, but I try and push myself out of my comfort zone. I try to like strike up a conversation. Like I don't go into it saying I'm going to blitz this person. Like I strike up a conversation about, I usually try and ask them like, wherever we are, like Walmart or Target or wherever, like, oh, how long have you worked here? Because usually when you ask about their work, they usually don't like their work. And so then that's an easy way to say, oh, well, I work from home. I'd love to give you more information. And I just give them a business card. So that's kind of like my fail-safe blitz.
When you set up at the gym, do you have samples or do you just have like product info sheets? And
yeah, I always have green samples, like the chocolate and the berry, and then the chocolate shake samples.
Cool. Perfect. One more question that was in there is, what do you do? What's your favorite like personal development, self-development?
So that's been a struggle for me too, because I hate to read. Like it's been like a joke my whole life because my 2 sisters are like bookworms. They take like 9 books on vacation and finish them all, and I would not take any. So like I got several books and I still like have not read like more than a few chapters of each of them. So Eric started downloading books for me on my iPhone. And that's been really helpful for me because I play it when I'm at the gym or when I'm getting ready at night, or when I'm doing the dishes at night. Anytime that I have I'm doing something that doesn't really require a lot of thinking, I turn it on. So that's been really huge for me, is to get those books on audio so I can listen to them because I just don't read. I know it's bad. I just have never, I want to be a reader, but I just not.
I usually fall asleep. If I'm in bed, I can't be in bed. If I'm going to read, I have to be like sitting up on the couch. I cannot try to, because I'll fall asleep. So today you said, I'm just going to let you know, like, you've inspired me. My goal is to have someone post for me every single day next month. At least one person post for me, because you guys, that is what she did, and that is why this month has been freaking killer for her. Every single day she has somebody posting for her, and what a better way to expand your network, get some new people, kind of those seeds planted to people you never ever would have otherwise.
Yeah, even if they don't buy right away, like, you still have added them as a friend, and then they watch I had a huge list of people from that to contact when all these sales came out, because they never ordered, but they were interested in the beginning, and that was all they needed to like push them over the edge. And even if they don't you don't get any interaction at first. Like, I just got a message from someone today who I wasn't friends with, and she requested to be my friend, and she was like, hey, I saw so-and-so's post. I'm kind of friends with her, but she, I saw her post about your cleanse. Will you give me more information? So, like, even if you don't get any interaction, like, on the actual post, like, people are still watching it. And one thing I've learned, like, this month, I asked people if I could tag them in a post. And that was like, I don't know if it was something with algorithm or what, but like, anytime I would tag, like, I had like 15 people, and I would tag them all in like a product post, and I would get like 0 likes. So I don't know if it's something with the algorithm, but tagging people,
I think it is. Me and Lisa have even noticed, like, if we tag each other, our posts get nothing. So we've honestly stopped tagging each other quite a bit. And it's a little bit better for the algorithm. So there's something weird about.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I was like, all right, I'm not tagging people anymore. Like, I'm going to have people post for me, because something is up. I was like, what the heck? Like, not even 1 like when I'm tagged 15 people in it. So don't do that.
Especially, I feel like if there are like words that they know are like sales pitchy kind of words in it, it's not gonna be seen. It's just, especially tagging people. So we've stopped tagging each other pretty much.
Really,
for the most part. For now, at least. Yeah. I mean, we still occasionally will, but it's weird right now. So,
it was like creepy weird. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Yeah, I did it twice. But all the more reason to add to your network when you're face to face and you're out and about, and other ways as well, because social media is a great tool. It's an incredible tool, but it's not the only way to build this business.
Right.
So be constantly adding to your network wherever you are, and every single day, just be adding people. So I just adore you, and I'm just so thankful for you getting on here.
For you.
We'll do last call. Anybody else have any questions want to ask? Otherwise, we'll let you guys get off of here and finish out the month strong. If anybody needs anything, we won. So if you need, otherwise, you work all day long.
No.
Do you power hour, or how do you kind of shut it off or put it away? Or how do you structure your day so that you don't?
So, like, Eric's tried to like structure my day several times, and it just never works. Like, I hate to admit this, but it's the truth. Like, when I get both my kids down for a nap, I nap too. That's like my guilty pleasure.
I don't blame you. That's fine.
I know it sounds horrible, but like, for me, I would rather work late at night. Like, I usually don't go to bed till like midnight at least, sometimes later, just because that's when, like, I feel like I get the most work done. Like, there's no distractions. Everyone's asleep, including Eric, and that's when I do a lot of my work. But then I'm tired in the morning because my kids wake me up early. And so, I mean, besides like posting and then answering questions from my team, and follow-ups. Like that's pretty much what I do during the day. And then, like I said, Eric and I, once we get the kids to bed, that's when we like do a power hour. And then he usually will relax and watch TV, because he's been working all day. And that's when I finish doing work until I go to bed. So I don't really have structure. I nap during the day, and
and you chase your kids around all day long.
Yeah. I mean, my daughter takes 2 naps. So like usually, I'll get them up in the morning and feed them, and then I'll put her down for her nap, and then I'll put something on the TV for Eli, and I'll do like follow-ups or, answer questions or whatever while she's napping. So I just have him. So that's kind of when I do the most work, is in the morning, and then after they're in bed. Because, that's why I joined this business, so I could be with home with my kids and not, working.
Be distracted.
Right.
Yeah. And so, okay, maybe somebody has this question. Eric is if you're on here, Eric, I just adore you as well. You are an amazing, supportive husband, but I wouldn't say he necessarily like works the business outwardly, but he is so supportive. So tell me kind of what he does to work the business and to help you, and kind of what his role looks like.
So he's very much the E-suite person. Like, I mean, if anyone signs a customer or a distributor, like he's like the first person, hey, so-and-so just signed a customer. Like he runs like credit card declines for me. He does message, especially if, I have like a bunch of customers that I need to move, like he'll send out a bunch of messages, like, but he's very techy. So, he knows E-Suite like the back of his hand. And I, let him control that, because I keep on top of it, but not as much as he does. So he's very, very, very good about like making sure he, everything's updated. Like he makes sure that hey, we need to move this customer. Like we only have an hour before they need to be moved. So he is really good about that. And he's basically the one who pushes me like outside my comfort zone. Like I'm very comfortable, with just staying on social media, and he is always the one to, anytime I ever go live, it's because of him. Anytime I ever blitz, it's because of him. Anytime I step outside my comfort zone, it's because of him. So he's like, he's a good motivator. Although sometimes we get in fights about it, I do appreciate it.
Like I appreciate you, but right now, I get it all too well. I totally get it, but they make it better. It's really fun. Okay, so that it's after 10, so we'll let everybody get off of here. But thank you again, and if anybody needs anything, I'll be up till 1, and I'm sure Brittany will too. So if you need anything, reach out. And yep, Lindsay will be. So rock out the end of the month, and we will see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.